Hi, good afternoon and good morning. I'm Kate Wade with Get Her Hired, and I have the absolute pleasure of being here today with my coach, the one and only Heather Tibbles Vassilev of HTV Coaching. We're going to talk today in today's undeniable session all about transitions, all about leadership, all about coaching, and you might even get some insights into how Heather has coached me. I can see I'm a little nervous. I'm like, oh, the reveals. But here's the thing, it's a safe place. And for all of you online, we're going to be taking your questions later in the call. And so if you know you've got a question, you can even put it in now. You can put it in through the Q&A or through the chat. All of those things are just fine. We'll be taking your questions because Heather's got the answers. And so as we get started here, let me tell you a little bit more about Heather, and then I'll get her to introduce herself as well, of course. But we're going to be talking about leadership energy and navigating career transitions. And it's Heather is so great at this because she's always just helped me stop, calm down, and think for a minute because it doesn't have to be so panicky. One of the things I love about Heather, I call her the human lighthouse. And when I first met Heather, we were talking a lot about how she likes to shine light. She likes to be that beacon, but she also will shine light on the thing that you need to look at, even if you don't really want to peek at it right now. And it's always helpful to take that peek. So she's the human lighthouse. And she's on a mission to empower leaders to embrace new ways of being, enabling them to thrive as individuals and business leaders. And she's really great with mindset, identifying and removing blocks to your light so you can shine and be resilient. So she's all about these fantastic coaching strategies. She's so good. She's my coach. Heather, please introduce yourself.
Wow, Kate, that is an honor to be introduced in that way. And hi, everyone. I'm so glad to be with you today. It was just thrilled when Kate invited me to come and to be able to support all of you as on these transitions that you're going through or planning on going through now.
Mhm.
So as Kate mentioned, I am an executive and transition coach. And what the heck does that mean? That means I have the privilege of walking alongside high impact, amazing executives during all the transitions that they go through. That could be that great new job, a new team, maybe a layoff that you're navigating, and maybe a layoff for yourself. So, all of those areas where we transition, that's where I get to be with folks.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people I work with, actually more and more frequently, probably 20% are looking to say, hey, how do I move into a fractional consulting role? I've been a big girl out here in corporate long enough. I
Yes.
want to transition. And that's, for me running my own business, that's how you are working with me in the transition that I'm doing, leading my own business too. So that's something you're fabulous at.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so today we're going to be talking about this leadership energy, and it's so interesting. I would love to know. Oh, before we do that, I want to try our poll questions because I want to get to know some people who are on the call here too. And again, this is
Yes.
all anonymous, so you don't have to reveal any information about yourself. And Heather, can you validate? Do you see a poll being launched right
I
now?
do. I
Okay,
see a question coming up in the chat.
great. Okay, all right. So we wanted to try. I want to restart it.
And
Um,
Kate, I see a question in the chat. Would you mind if I take that question while you're finding your poll?
sure. Yeah, please.
I see a question coming in of how you define executive. No, that is not just limited to C-suite level. I generally coach between middle manager up through the C-suite level. I would say everyone is a leader if you have direct reports or not. So keep that in mind. Executive is the official term that is used under the ICF guidelines. You're welcome.
Thank you. So, we are relaunching a poll right now. I just figured out how to do it live and in the moment. So we want to know today, are you looking right now for a job? Are you considering? Are you passively exploring? Or are you just gathering some intel today? So we want to see kind of where we've got people coming in. We've got by far Heather, the highest percentage of people here are actively searching. Okay. And a few with some curiosity and exploring some ideas. Thank you for that. Oh, yeah. Definitely a lot of people looking for this role, new roles. And then let me launch this one. What would you want to focus on if you had a coach? What would some of your biggest questions be? So we've got getting clear on what to do next, improving what you do, building confidence, preparing for interviews. So just kind of want to see, high number of people here building confidence and executive presence. Very high number. Okay. Well, you're in the right,
You are in the right
right
place. You
place.
are in the right place. That's great.
And then we had this other, another one up. There have been a number of people have worked with a coach before. Okay, we're about 50-50 of people having worked with coaches and people having not worked with coaches. Yeah. Okay. Uh, let's get into this. Tell me, how did you get into this? Because you were a big wig. You were kind of a big deal, corporate deal. What happened?
How
And
did I
are
get
you
into this?
ashamed of this, Heather?
I am so proud of it. And I'm going to tell you that it started with a coach. True story. My coach's
Oh
name
my
was
God, I didn't know
Arena.
that.
She is amazing. And it started actually many years before I made the transition with this nagging feeling that I had of I have a really great path. I was, for my background, I was the vice president of program management in a medical device company. So I was doing well. And something was feeling off. And it wasn't the people around me. I had a great boss. That was it. Something was taking my energy. And I knew I needed something next. And I had no idea what next was. I was so stuck. So stuck.
Mhm.
And I met Arena and she offered me what is standard, hour and a half of my time. Let's get you unstuck. And that's what it took to just start that idea of what is it I love when I wake up in the morning and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go do something. What is that? And what gives me light and what drains my energy?
Mhm.
And start
Mhm.
looking at it that way. And through that, then over the course of about 6 months together, we started defining, okay, well, that's who you are. Now, what do we want to do with that? What does that look like in terms of job, in terms of reality? And then what paths do we start taking to do that? And I'm so thankful to her because I'm so glad that I did this long before I needed to. I will just say that. Because I was preparing. So when 3 years ago a layoff happened at my company and a lot of the 20% people were cut and a lot of people lost their jobs, myself included, I knew exactly where I wanted to go. And I
Mhm.
had a plan, 30% laid out that I could go with. So then it just became, yes, working through the holy cow, 15 years at a company, and now I'm not there anymore, and everything that goes with that,
Yeah, yeah,
and knowing what I wanted to do next. So
yeah.
I'll say Arena's name multiple times because when you have a coach like that, you never forget her, ever.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. And Heather, we connected like that at a very important time for my business where we've been going through so much growth and preparing me along the way, helping me get ready for meetings, helping me think through what I think is a massive challenge. But it's like uh, the greatest gift I've gotten from you, Heather, is you help me think through my vision as a leader, right? Because all of us have a vision of how we want to lead our team, want to lead our division, whatever we might be in. But rare that we get to sit and articulate it, and having a great coach ask really good questions is incredible. And you've been so helpful to me for that. And I love what you're saying too about, before it was urgent, you were working on this, and that's important too. Yeah, taking care of you, being that lighthouse for yourself.
It's so much easier to think clearly, to have
Yeah,
creative ideas, to
yeah,
remove blocks when you're not in the throes of the cortisol
yeah,
reaction. So
yeah,
sometimes we have to, and
yeah,
that's okay.
yeah, yeah. Thank you. So I want to move into talking about themes you might be seeing out there. You've coached hundreds of people, you are in the rooms with thousands of people, your materials have been in front of many, many people. And there are themes I know that come up. And one of the questions we had received ahead of time was around the confidence or the shame or the fear when we're in our career search. Can you talk a little bit about what you see there?
Yes, absolutely. I would say that confidence is probably underneath 80, if not 90% of why someone comes to coaching. Oftentimes, it may start with my leader told me I need better executive presence, or I want to learn how to delegate more, or something tactical. But underneath it, it's that how do we deal with those feelings of ambiguity that make us go, "Ugh," and then we got all these blocks that show up on it.
Yeah.
And Kate, you know this from when you and I talk, but so often we feel ashamed because of that. And I want to just start with like, stop. And here's the reason, because that is natural. I am a scientist by background, and I'm not going to go into all of the scientific details, but your brain does not like ambiguity because it's not a safety
Mhm.
mechanism. And that is the number one reason your brain is in your head, is to keep you alive and keep you safe. So congratulations. If you're having a little bit of confidence challenges when you're taking on something new and big, good job, brain. It's doing its thing.
Yeah.
And they may be holding us back a little bit. And so
Mhm.
that's what we want to work through. We want to normalize that feeling that you're having is normal and natural and probably similar to what 90 other percent of people in the world are having, but might not be talking about.
Yeah.
And then it becomes, how do you move forward even when you're not feeling that confidence? Because confidence is not gained from waiting until we feel like we're ready. Confidence is gained from doing something during uncertainty and then looking back and go, yeah, I did that.
Yeah. That's so freaking hard.
Yes,
So
yes.
hard. Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
hard. And it's why, when people say, well, why do you go for a coach for this? Because this is really hard to do on your own. Really
Yeah.
hard.
It
Coaches have
is.
coaches. We have a hard time doing it on our own. We call our coach.
Yeah, it is. It's so easy to say and hard to do. It's like just a quick analogy. Last night I teach flute on Thursday nights, and I have this 12-year-old girl, and she just got into an ensemble, and she's like, she plays violin too. And she said, well, I don't know if I should bring my flute to the ensemble because I'm not good enough yet. And I said to her, well, guess how you're going to get good enough? By bringing your flute to that ensemble. And it's the same. How are you going to get good at being a leader if you don't go and lead? And of course, learning in front of a crowd is never fun, but that's the only way to.
Right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and we naturally do these. Our brain gives us these natural blocks to keep us safe when we're in these. And
Mm.
in coaching, we categorize them in four things. The acronym is GALE. One is your gremlin, which is your inner critic. Another, oh, love our gremlin, but she is there to keep us safe. And then sometimes we make assumptions about things, about how a situation is going to go. Oh my gosh, when I get up and to speak, I know that they're all going to be judging me.
Mhm.
Other times we have these limiting beliefs about myself. I think my voice is too high pitched. I'm like, I sound squeaky when I go in there, and I'm going to limit myself because of that. Or we might interpret people's responses to us. Oh my gosh, I just gave this talk and Joe over there, who's really important, wasn't looking down the whole time. Joe may have regretted what he ate for lunch that day. We don't know that it has anything to do with us. And so we have all these natural things that we do to keep ourselves safe, but those blocks, those are the blocks that actually hold us back from living into that awesomeness. And I'm sure your flautist could pick one of those, if not more, that she carried with us because we all have them.
Oh man. Yeah, yeah. Tell us a little bit more about energy and the kind of model you use when you're working with people. I love like this, the gremlin, the assumptions, the limiting beliefs that we're interpreting things wrong. Like, tell us a little bit more how you work through that energy model with people.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Anne Marie, if you could help us out here, we've got a little visual for this to help us on our conversation. But there we go. Thank you, Anne Marie. Uh,
Thanks, Henry.
so we use this model, Kate, because a lot of times the language around this, it might be hard to put our finger on, what exactly am I feeling?
Mhm.
And what does that mean? And then where do I want to feel? So we use this model, it's called the Energy Leadership Index, and it really gives language to the concept of thought, emotion, and belief in the language of energy. Um, and so the lower levels of energy, this is often what we feel during stress and transition. So level one is we're pulling inward, we're like, I'm just not good enough for this. I just, oh my gosh, this layoff just happened and it's got to be something I did wrong. We pull inward. Or we may react outward, a little bit more conflict and kind of, what the heck? Why did they pick me and not Joe over there who doesn't do anything? How could they lay me off? I don't understand this. I am so angry and maybe so frustrated because I have 36 different people have not answered my resume. What the heck is going on? Again,
Yeah.
understandable response. The third one is the one that I think is the most interesting under stress, and this is the rationalizer, the tolerator level.
Mm.
I'm okay. How you doing today? Okay. Just I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna get through tomorrow, and yep, I'm gonna be okay. Did I mention I was okay? And I point that out because in this model, that's the one that often we don't see or we don't realize in our friends that like, hey, something's going on there.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
important because underneath that, I'm okay. They're sitting either, oh my gosh, I'm really not good enough, or I am so frustrated, but I am not going to let my frustration out because I don't want anyone to know that I am frustrated. And
Oh.
that can hold us back from these upper levels where we start getting
Mhm.
into collaboration, curiosity, love curiosity, finding the win win, finding the connection in level six and wisdom, and then ultimately, ultimate joy in level
Mhm.
seven.
Mhm. Mhm. I don't know what levels, if you want to put in the chat anonymously, you can do that. What level you think your energy's at right now. It's interesting you paused on rationalizer because this is why I go to therapy. I have a coach and a therapist, okay? And I
Mhm,
take my medications my doctor gives me. You do all the things all of the smart people tell
mhm,
you to do, okay? But
mhm,
with in therapy, the thing I'm working on is avoidance because I'm a big
mhm,
compartmentalizer, right? So if
mhm.
something's going wrong, I just tuck that away, right?
Yeah,
And now this
yeah.
is the difference between what's happening in coaching and what happens in therapy because we work
Mhm.
on, okay, what if you're tucking that away? Whereas in coaching, it's like, all right, well, how's that serving you? How's that
Yeah.
working for you?
Yeah, it's an interesting thought because, and I get this question a lot is, wow, when we coach, like we talk about the person that's there
Mm.
in the room.
Mhm.
This feels like therapy. It
Mhm.
does, but there's absolutely a difference. Whereas both coaches and therapists are going to explore the human, they're going to explore what's going on underneath it. But
Mhm.
only therapists are trained to solve trauma. And
Right.
so when
Yeah,
trauma has entered the
exactly.
program, your coach is going to happily hand over to their partner in therapy. But both of us
Mhm.
are going to explore, how do we get you to move forward, Kate?
Mhm. Mhm. We've got a couple people saying, one that says they're a collaborator, one who sees themselves at all the levels. Is that common?
Yes, it is. And actually, we spend the majority of our day going like this.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
so we don't have, I'm having a level 5 day all day. Yeah, probably not. Probably not.
I wish. I wish.
And we spend them in the different days and one different throughout the day. And the word that I want to really emphasize on as we think about those levels is what is serving you at that
Mhm.
moment, because each one of those has value. They
Yeah.
all have value. And I'll double click on anger and frustration for a moment, because sometimes there's a feeling during a transition, especially with a layoff, that like I shouldn't be angry anymore, but I am. And the
Mhm.
question is that anger serving you?
Mhm.
And I actually remember during my own layoff, I ran to level 3 so fast. I was going to show everybody how quickly I could recover and how that I was okay. I was okay, Kate.
Right.
Did I tell you I
I'm
was
fine.
okay?
I'm
I
fine.
was
I'm fine.
absolutely okay. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, I wasn't okay. It really, really wasn't okay. There's a hole in my bedroom door that I kicked to show you how not okay I was during that. Um, but
Ouch.
you need it. That's important. And so it's really about finding what is serving you
Mhm.
and what level do you want to be at for this moment,
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
for this particular moment, for this particular conversation, for this
Yeah.
particular situation.
Yeah. That's awesome. We're going to be sending that out to everyone afterwards. So, Emery, can you put it up just for a moment? Because we got a comment from someone that shared that they spent more time in those lower levels, but now intentionally is really moving themselves into levels 5 and 6 through some therapy too. Yay, therapy.
Yay. Good for you. And yay for you for prioritizing yourself. Let me just say
Yeah.
that. Yay, you.
There's another friend out here who says, I find myself consistently at 3 and 4. And kind of in a tolerating mindset is very relatable for this person that we're tolerating things. What do you think about tolerating things, Heather? Just curious.
And I'll go back to the what is serving you,
Mhm.
because again, each level has value. So
Mhm.
if that tolerating mode is kind of all you can come up with right now to help you move into the next stage, and it
Yeah.
is serving you to move out of some of those lower levels and find some higher level energy, use it, but choose it.
Mhm.
That's the
Mhm.
main thing. Choose it because that's what you want to use right now.
I love
The
that.
challenge becomes when we just kind of defer back to it and aren't choosing. So
Mhm.
every level has value. It's if you choose it,
Yeah.
if you're intentional about it, that's where the
That's
empowerment comes in.
I love that. I will talk to people sometimes. Thanks, Anne Marie, for that. Who, in the job search can be so frustrating. And when clients I'm working with stay stuck in that victim mode, everything seems impossible.
Yes.
And um, there's all these can'ts as to why something isn't working for them. And the shift I often attempt to make, I'm not a very great coach like Heather is. I do have a coaching certificate, but one of the shifts
You
I try to make with people is, well, what is possible, right? What can we choose. Just like you said, you know, well, maybe I can choose to be collaborative. And if I choose to be collaborative instead of a victim,
Yes.
or if I choose to help someone else, what could that do for me? How does that help make me feel and move my mood?
Yes. And what you're touching on, Kate, is the number one thing that can help move you out of that feeling victimized when you're ready to do so. And that is by finding one tiny little action that you can take that you have chosen to do. That is it.
Mhm.
We look for naturally, and this is a very natural human response when we're in level one, we look for someone else to help us and pull us out.
Mhm.
The
Mhm.
problem with that is that that doesn't empower us.
Right.
There are times when we do. We really can't. Like you're going, go to the therapist. That the person can help pull you out. Empowerment is different. And when we
Yeah.
move out of empowerment, it is about finding that choice and that action for ourselves and
Mhm.
turning that narrative of the story. So
Mhm.
layoff. I get it. Was not my choice to leave the company. Someone else chose that my position was eliminated.
Yeah.
That is very that is very level one. Like that happened to me.
Mhm.
Get it.
Yeah.
I can't change that. I can't change that control. I can't change what that person was thinking. I can beat my head against the wall and stay up until 3 o'clock in the morning trying to, but it ain't going to.
Yeah.
What I can change is how I view that. What little action that I take to make another step. What
Yeah.
conversation I have with somebody.
Yeah.
Those are things I can choose. And so separating that out,
Yeah. Yeah.
I choose what I can't.
And it's I have learned um over time that those feelings are okay too. Like when you're feeling that anger, feel that anger and that
Feel the anger.
self-righteous anger and that I've been attacked or I'm
Yes.
not a good person. Or
Yes.
someone just wrote in and said they're struggling with embarrassment and self-doubt. I don't know if
Mhm.
this situation this person's in is a layoff or maybe that I would imagine maybe they haven't found a job yet, and they're
Mhm.
embarrassed about this and doubting
Mhm.
themselves. Um,
Yes.
yeah, I think that's incredibly normal. Like when I talk to people for their resumes, um, I can't even tell you how many executives I met for the first time within 10 minutes are crying
Mhm.
because there are so few people it's safe to talk to about the kinds of pressures we're under as leaders,
Yes.
how we have to show up for our team and how we have to keep ourselves together for the bosses, and then we get into that fine, 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 I'm fine kind of place, or I'm okay, right? But you're really not. And ho- when people are feeling embarrassed or full of self-doubt, how would you approach that for a person?
Absolutely. Friend, I will just say if you want to type into the chat, is this a layoff, what the situation is so we can tailor, I'm happy to do so, but let me give you it more general. First of all, during transition, especially when the transition was not your choice, it is 1,000 times natural and normal to feel self-doubt, to feel embarrassment, to feel that pull in. So, friend, you are
Mhm.
in a normal state of what your brain is functioning. That doesn't mean it feels good, but that is a normal state. Your brain is trying to keep you safe because this change that was out of your control just happened. And brain's like, okay, we're going to pull in and we're going to make sure that this person that I love is so okay. I'm going to feed the self-doubt so I can keep her safe so that she doesn't try to do anything big in the next step. So thanks, brain, for keeping me safe. But that's kind of not what I need right now. And I will say the embarrassment is also natural. When we talk about, a job loss or, something that was again taken from us, there's a loss of what we value often. Maybe it could be the title, it could be the money, it could be your position in society. It could also be how you were set up to help other people, just depending what your values are. And we can feel like it changes how others see us. And that maybe we did something. Maybe it's something about us. Maybe it's something that we're like is broken about us.
Mhm.
The first part of coaching on this is that awareness of just that's what the voice is what is telling you. And that is normal. And now let's understand what it is trying to protect you from. My gremlin comes out. Her name is Rogue. If anybody comes in my courses, you will meet Rogue 9 times out of 10. Rogue, whenever transitions and scary things happen to me, comes out and says, we're not smart enough to do this. And
My
yeah, she's like,
sister Amelia, we landed on one of the nuns from my childhood.
yeah, those voices, they come out like yelling loud
I'm
and
right to do
clear.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, how could you do this? And if we aren't paying attention, it holds us back because
Mhm.
voice is to keep you safe, not to help me get the next cool job that I want, to keep me safe. So
Mhm.
once we recognize that, now it's about let's give it a new message. Let's give it a new name. We know why it's there. We know brain is there to keep us safe. But you know what? We're kind of get but we've got a lot of skills. We've got a lot of experiences. We actually don't need to be kept safe in this situation. And so it starts being reframing that. And I'm gonna say that, and Kate, you've been through this as you brought up as the experience. I know I'm making this sound easy. It's not. It's a really deep, reflective practice. But once we start seeing that, and once we start being able to reframe that voice to, oh, hello, I know why you're here. I'm not smart enough, just showed up because we're about to go play big. Ha ha. About to go play big. Okay then. It can change how you view things. And we start looking at that little gremlin as instead of an inner critic, she's our inner voice of wisdom. She's our inner support. She's my inner program manager, my inner champion. So it's all about really understanding and transitioning that gremlin. So friend, you are not alone in that feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. So interesting. We have some comments here, and then I see there's a question, and Anne Marie and Lourdes, maybe you can get to that Q&A question in a moment. But someone wrote in and said, a great coach once told me, rather than ask why this is happening to me, ask why this is happening for me
Oh,
to help get out of that victim
beautiful.
mentality. And then someone later in this is all anonymous. So someone later wrote in and said, I was let go. I do know it was the best thing due to the toxic environment. So you're like coaching each other in the little chat thread. You don't even know it.
I love it. I love it. And friend with the last so first of all, friend with the first comment about what the great coach said. Oh, love your great coach. Wonderful. Would love to meet him or her. Totally. That's a great way to see it instead of it happening to you, happening for you.
Yeah.
Setting
Yeah.
that stage. But friend on the letting go on the toxic environment. I will say it's one of the other challenges that we face is getting our head aligned with our heart and our intuition in this. Because during the stages of transition, especially during layoff, our brains will get to the point of telling us, this is good. It's a toxic environment. It's good that you left. When I was laid off, my husband's first response to me was not, I'm sorry. It was, thank God this job is killing you. So the logic was there. My
Mm.
emotions took me a while to catch up. And that's again normal.
Yeah. Yeah. It's tough. Lourdes or Anne Marie, can one of you see the Q&A question? I think we had something submitted there.
Yep. How do you deal with finding a new position, but the compensation and title both scream demotion?
Ooh.
Mm. So I would start with a couple of things. No, and this is working with Kate, you will have done this, but title and position are one piece. think about who you want to be in the role. And as you're deciding the job, set up what are you going to be there? What are you going to get from this? What is this job going to give you? And then lean into that great negotiating skills that I bet you all have. Who hasn't looked for a bargain online somewhere or negotiated to go out to, get a better price at a restaurant or something? The fact that it's posted at that doesn't mean that that's the one that it has to be.
100% hallelujah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I would say, look at the job. Put your criteria, start by put your criteria out for what you want to be in this role. And put title and salary in at the end. Because as much as they are important, and I get it, we all got to pay the bills and we should be paid for what we are valued. But money can be a bias that can get in the way of us seeing what we want, what we truly want in that role. So get that out first. What do you want to be? Who do you want to be? And I'll keep saying that. Who do you want to be in this? What is the job description that's going to make you so thrilled to get up in the morning? And the company values are going to align with your values. The work that you're going to do is you, and you're going to feel stretched and not bored and grow and excited and not overwhelmed and burned out. And then slap the title and the money on top of it.
Yeah. Thank you, Heather, for that. And one of the other things I will say is, you get to choose, right? And so as a practical matter, what are the benefits of this position? Not like healthcare benefits or FMLA benefits or something like that, but like, what are the benefits? Like you're saying, like, who do I get to be in this position, right? And what are the risks for you? And for sometimes there's clients that I have, and I'm sure you have as well, Heather, that they're in such an unhealthy environment. It's safer and better. Just get out. Get out. And if you don't have to stay anywhere, you are beholden to no one to stay anywhere and stay loyal to a company. That does not exist any longer.
No,
It
no.
exists in our heads, but it doesn't exist at the company level.
And the
Yeah.
interesting part is that I have seen clients that when they've come to just that aha moment of like, that's it, I need to go. And they still have, a feeling of camaraderie with their boss or with their teammates.
What's a team? Yeah.
What they end up doing is negotiating a leaving transition plan that makes everybody happy. I had a client that realized that in his career, he was in career and it just wasn't the right fit for him. And once he realized that and said, I'm gonna start looking, he found a new role. He had kept such a good relationship with his manager that he actually negotiated a 2-week later start date on the new role, set out a full transition plan so that everybody could have a handoff. It was smooth. They could bring somebody in. He felt like he lived to his values. His boss, when he left, said, if you ever want to come back, you're always welcome. And he completely did the whole transition guided by his purpose. It was a beautiful thing. Can't
Still
always do that.
probably tough to
I understand.
Yeah. 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 Awesome. I'm going to head back over to our little outline that we have for today, because I know
Yes.
there's so much we want to talk about here.
There's so many things in transitions.
Yeah. So let's just move right into questions. And because I think we've really hit on a lot of things, Heather, you and I wanted to talk about today.
Yes.
Something that maybe until we get a question coming in, I've got one for you, but please, you can send a question in the chat. to the panelists. You can send it using the Q&A function here in the webinar. We do not have your names, so we will not read your name if we happen to see your name. So it's all anonymous and discreet here. Send over your question. But Heather, I've got one for you that I had been thinking about.
Yes.
That would be helpful, I think, for a number of people. So when I'm talking to people, I will see that they feel a common theme is they don't feel qualified for that next jump. If it's from VP to SVP or SVP to C, right? Or from C to paid board seat, right? Those kinds, and well, can I really do that? And one of the things we firmly believe in at Get Her Hired is facts over fiction. The fiction being the gremlin, like the stories you're telling yourself. Or what was that, Gail, right? Gremlin. It's the gremlin, the assumptions, how you're interpreting things and limiting beliefs, right? I wrote that
Exactly. You
down. I
got it.
said that earlier, right? And so that's all the fiction. But what are the facts? And when they work with us, we go through a fact set, and then our team, we validate it against commercial market value competencies for that next level role, right? And I'm like, well, it factually, yeah, you've already done the role of the C level, but your brain isn't there, right? And so when people are looking at moving to that next level, how would you work with someone when they're feeling like, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm not qualified enough? What might you say to someone?
Yeah, absolutely. So as you said, we get in our heads with the assumptions, and one of the very common ones was, oh, I don't know if I've ever done XYZ task that I know is required for this role. And so, I'll say two things. If you've done every single one of those tasks already, A, you're probably just in the wrong position and you just need to be promoted. Or B, congratulations, you're right where you should be, because we want our true next role to be something that's going to stretch us a little bit. So, yay, stretch assignment. Yes. Now, the fact that you haven't done a thing doesn't mean you don't have the skills to do it. And that's the important part, because we talk about who you are. Who you are and your strength and skills is what you bring to every single new job. And I will say this 1,000 times, learning agility as you move into a new role is one of the most crucial things to be thinking about and talking about. And talking about it in your resume, talking about it in an interview. If there's something that you have not done before, if there is something that it's been a while, like you had to take, time off to raise kids or take care of an aging parent, or there was illness, focus on what you have been able to do using the skills and the strengths and your values, and then how you would learn to use those in the current environment. Learning agility is the number one predictability of success in a new role when you have a high level transition. Talk about it. How have you learned something new? What is your learning style? If you're not sure, great thing to work with a coach or a consultant, or there's a lot of online assessments that you can just take to figure out your learning style.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell those stories. Those stories.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Yeah. It's that is incredibly helpful. Just because you haven't done it before doesn't mean you don't possess that capability, and that capability may just as well be your learning agility. Yeah.
And how
Really.
you've applied it.
Mhm.
And think about your personal life too. It's not just your job. I had a client who was preparing for an interview, and it was a series of things he hadn't done before, but he was really excited, really wanted to get this job. And we were going through and writing these statements about his strengths and his values. I call it the USP method, unique selling proposition method. And he couldn't come up with some for his particular strengths and this one strength. And then he started saying, well, what if I tell you something about my personal life? Great. He has 5 daughters, 5 teenage daughters. So blessing on his heart, first of all, for 5 teenage daughters.
Yeah.
He started telling me a story about how when his teenagers daughters have problems, they always come to him, and what a good listener he is. And he can help them work through their problems without telling them what to do by asking all these questions. And I'm listening to this story thinking context for the role he was getting into. If you can
Mhm.
raise 5 teenage girls who come to their dad for advice on helping to solve problems, and he can talk through and listen without alienating them. Holy cow! The skills and the strengths in there that are applicable to the type of role that he was in.
Mhm.
So we turned that into, okay, what were the skills you had in there? What were the values? How would you turn that into
Yeah.
the question for the job? So it's not just the role, it's who you are everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. And all of that's transferable in so many ways. Um, Heather, we had a question come in from email earlier this week. We always send out a note to see what questions people might have.
Yes.
One that came in was, what is your advice for professionals who've been out of the workforce for several years? So we work with usually older professionals. They may have had the childcare years, but even more often now I'm seeing people who have parental care,
Yes.
family care for their aging parents. So it's taking sometimes um, people like that, it's difficult for them emotionally, I think, to share the
Absolutely.
gap in the employment.
Absolutely.
What's your approach if someone's had a gap in employment?
There's the tactical side and then there's the emotional block side. So I'll start with the easier one. You know, tactically, you don't have a gap in your resume. You had a different job. Because if you took time off to raise your kids, you took time off from your professional life to care for an aging parent, there were a lot of things that you did in there. There were a lot of skills that you learned. There were a lot of values that you leaned into. There was probably, if you start thinking about tasks that you did that can talk about your strengths and the areas that you have. So think about it in terms of if you were to write this as a job description, what would you have done and mine and look for those skills. From the emotional standpoint, I'm gonna say own it. Own it. And I know that's hard when we live in a society that doesn't always feel like it honors those breaks.
Mhm. Yeah, true.
But
True.
I'm guessing that you did that because of a value that you have. So own that value. Because
Oh,
that's
that's so
beautiful.
beautiful.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
know what? I'll say here's the other thing. If you walk into a company and you have a hiring manager who, when you tell the story of valuing the time with your kids and the time with your family and how much you learn, and you tell that story, and that hiring manager goes at you, do you want to work there?
Oh, I don't know.
It will tell you something about your work
The
life balance
team. Yeah,
and the
yeah,
team and the work life balance. So
yeah.
own the story, own the beauty of
Mhm,
it, and then tell the story because that is when you're interviewing for something, you're interviewing them as much as they are interviewing you.
mhm, mhm.
So it's a great way to
Absolutely.
find out how they view family, where they
Yeah,
really put their money and where when it comes to values.
yeah. I love that. The advice I do with that on your resume, it's pretty simple. I always tell people to put career sabbatical on the dates. And if people want to ask questions, they can ask questions. But
Yes,
we're not going to put more information on your resume about your career break. It says career sabbatical, and then you can answer that question
as you
when you get the
like.
interview. Yeah,
You
yeah.
like. Yeah.
We have a question about money. I don't know if you can see that one,
Yes,
Heather.
I can.
Yeah.
So we do seminars and whole coaching things about how the biases around money. So yes, absolutely seeing the
So
question.
I'll just read the
Read the
question out.
question. Mhm.
Yeah. So when you say that money can bias us away from who we really want to be, I think of how in our culture it feels like worth is defined by how much money we're making, even if we wouldn't consciously say that. What would you say to start addressing that mindset?
Yes. So first of all, thank you for the question because it's absolutely a reality of money, title, possessions, of how, even we may view ourselves may be different than how we feel that the culture of society may view things. Um, I'll step back and just kind of go back to the tool that we use. Money can be viewed, everything can be viewed through that level of energy. So money can be viewed as something of, there's fear. A level 2, there's fear there will never be enough. There will never be enough. And I'm afraid that there will never be enough. Money can be viewed from a level 6 perspective of, money allows me to bring purpose to my family, to bring purpose to my community. There's a different view of how we all have money. And so what I would say, friend, is number one, start with an understanding of your own view. And it may be in different situations and maybe how it's related to work, whatever. And then say, is that the view that I would like to have? Kate, I can send out afterwards. Folks, if you're interested in the money, you can get my email after. Send me an email. I'll send you a little the 7 levels of money. So you can see that. Um, but understand yourself first. Always start with self. Always, always, always start with self. And then it's a question of what do you want to influence? And what do you want to care about? I would love to change the world. I would love to change the world's view of money. I would like to have world peace. I haven't found the formula for that. What I can impact is uh, how I respond to what I see out in the world. That's what I can change. And again, you start with self. I know I said start with self about 10 times because we start with self.
Yeah.
Friend, if you have a follow-up question on that, I am happy to take another question if you want.
Oh, that's so great. So great. Thank you. Well, we've got just a few more minutes with you, Heather, and I want to take some time. And if you have more questions, you can still send them in. We'll answer them. But just know Heather and I are going to kind of close the question box for now. But send them in. We can answer them after the meeting and follow up with you. So if you could, today, Heather, you've been so generous with your time, and we've been having really good, real talk here today about leadership energy and navigating these career transitions. If you could leave us with one final thought today about leadership energy and transitions, what might that be?
I think it's the word of the power of choice. The
Mm.
power of choice of during these transitions, the thing that we can influence the most is the choices we're making. And that's where our empowerment comes from. And if you choose today, or in this moment, or in this second, that I need to be angry, yeah, go for it. Choose it. Choose it. And then ask yourself, is this still serving me? And if not, maybe it's time to choose another one. Maybe it's time to choose curiosity. Maybe it's time to choose wisdom or self-love. And you don't have to be alone. That's the last part of this, is that you and I both know is going through this. This is hard. I'm spitting out these things like, oh, if you just follow Heather's checklist, everything. No, it's really not that easy.
Same. Just do this. It's fine.
Really not that easy. Don't be alone. Don't feel you have to be alone. And please don't feel ashamed or embarrassed if you need help. Because that's what your crowd is here for. Like, isn't it the best thing in the world when you get to help somebody? Like, that's the coolest gift you can give someone.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. Thank you so much, Heather. So much.
You're
Oh my
welcome.
goodness. This has been just fantastic. So I've learned so much from you, Heather, in my leadership energy, my self-belief, my limiting beliefs, things where I think there's an impossible wall, and then there's it's not actually an impossible wall. It's just a little bump in the road. And I guess what? I can step over that little speed bump.
Yeah, because look at all the ones you stepped over in the past. You did
That's
it
right.
before,
That's
you
right.
can do it again.
And sometimes I'm ashamed because I put the speed bump there myself, right? Like, yeah, well,
But hey,
you
you
know,
put it there, you can take it away.
that's right. And doing it together in community is so good to have a coach, because it's very hard to trust people where they haven't necessarily earned the right to our story all the time, and people can get burned when they're sharing their story about their career. And that's why a coach is such a good person to work with, because confidentiality, the principles you have that you bring to the relationship are vastly different than someone you went to high school with, who you
You
meet
know,
for a glass of wine.
and I agree that you say that as we go through these transitions, we need all kinds of people. We need our friends to go have lunch with. We need our family to surround us. They're all different roles. And the role of
Mhm.
having a coach is that person who is going to be there supporting you and challenging you in that complete confidential way
Mhm.
and not trying to fix it for you. Because
Mhm.
sometimes when our family, like, they want to fix it for us because, like, they want us to stop hurting.
Yeah.
And we're going to help you be the one that's empowered. So we
Yeah.
all got different roles in this.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, Heather, where can people find out more information about you?
So you can find lots of different places. HTVcoaching.com, very simple. Don't try to pronounce my last name, it's too difficult. It's just my initials, HTV. Coaching.com. You will be getting a little handout. Well, thank you
Mm.
for on this. So you'll find all that at the bottom of the handout. There's a little QR code. You can sign up for my newsletter. All these fun tips and tricks. And by the way, if you like it, half of my blog is written by my dog. So if you're a dog person, you prefer to have leadership coaching trips from someone that is fuzzy, uh, my dog does my blog because, you know, she's
Your
cooler than
blog is
me.
awesome.
She's cooler than me. And if you're in the Twin Cities, please find me the different events that I'm doing. I'd love to see
Yeah.
you in person. But
Yeah.
I'm also very, very
What's
much in the
what's
virtual space.
yeah, you're available internationally.
I
But what's
am.
that event you're doing Monday here in the Twin Cities?
Oh, we are doing the Business Women's Circle Forum. Oh my gosh, it's going to be so fun. We're doing a curiosity lab. Love the science
Mhm.
of curiosity and leadership. I love science
Awesome.
nerd.
The Business Women's Circle. That's a cool
Business
organization if you
Women's
don't
Circle.
know about it yet.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
Very
it'll be
nice.
fun.
Well, thank you, Heather. Thanks to everyone who's listening
Welcome.
today. And we try to do these sessions once a week, once every 2 weeks. We do it when we've got great things to talk about. And we're always interested in hearing your questions. So if you have ideas for someone you want to meet and ask questions to, you can send us an email following the session. And we've got another one coming up next. I think it's Thursday that, whoa, no, it's in 2 weeks. Is it 2 weeks, Anne-Marie? The 24th. We're going to have Wendy Wiesman from Ready, Set, Pivot. Ready, Set, Pivot is a fantastic networking organization that's national. They have events in the Twin Cities and in Chicago, and it's all for women in transition. They have all sorts of types of little events that happen. And so Wendy is a real ball buster. She's amazing. She is a great person to eat Thai food with. So definitely come to that session if you've got questions about career transitions. Again, it seems to be a theme here at Get Her Hired. And we'd love to see you on the 24th. Well, thanks for this. We'll send you a follow-up. And Heather, have a beautiful weekend.
You
Thank
too,
you.
Kate. This was so much fun. Thank you so much for inviting me. And friends, thank you for all your questions.
Thank you. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.